Right, so process costing equivalent units. What we're trying to do here is to kind of find a way of valuing um, stock when we have stuff that's partially completed. So hopefully you've tried to read this question. You've seen that here you have completed stock. I mean, if we had completed stock, all we would do is we'd just add all of this up and divide by the total completed stock. So we could find, if you like, if we wanted to cost a unit. That's the whole point about this. We're just trying to cost a unit, right? But when you have partially completed stock, how do we arrive at costing, if you like, the separate parts of our closing inventory and work in progress? So I'm trying to value, okay, what is my completed stock? What is my work in progress? I'm trying to find out what the value is for my statement of financial position or whatever it is. What's the final value? I mean, all I have is these inputs that have gone in to making these things. So how do I do that? And so the way to do that, if you like, is to then sort of, because I have partially completed stock here, I need to into their equivalent sort of full units because they're part, and I'm told that, and I can see the variation here of how. So the best thing to sort of do is to treat it like this. You have materials, labor, and overheads. I'm just going to break them up. Although this question does ask about conversion, which is the combination of labor and overheads, because they're both 50%, so it works. But I'll just do it the long way around. So in effect, what we're saying here is that we have completed units and we have work in progress. So we know we have 5,000 completed units. Well, 5,000 completed units, if you like, at 100%, right? I mean, that's what we're sort of saying here. I mean, I'm just teaching, so I'm explaining this, I mean, not just for theory, you understand. So these are 100% complete. These are 100% complete, which means that there are 5,000 units here. I know that sounds obvious, but just so you know that that's what we're saying. So what we're now saying, I'll just change the pen color, is to say that we work in progress. What we have is that we have 600 units that are 100% complete for materials, but these 600 units are only 50% complete from a labor point of view, and these 600 units are only 50% complete from an overhead point of view. So the argument then becomes, well, what is the equivalent units of these 600? Well, if you have 600 units that are halfway complete, we could argue, right, that that's the same thing as saying that they are 300 full units. And the same thing here, 300 full units. And here, of course, you have 600 full units. So my work in progress is therefore 600 units complete from material. It does tell me that. 300 complete in terms of labor and 300 complete in terms of overheads. So I suppose adding this together, just using a different pen, you could argue that my materials are 5,600 units complete, 5,300 units complete for labor, and 5,300 units complete for overheads. So I can therefore, I suppose, find what the cost is per, if I'm dealing with per material, in terms of just understanding what's going on. So in terms of materials, I have a material cost here of 56,000 that has been spent on 5,600 units. So I can find out what the cost is per equivalent unit, which is the 56,000 divided by 5,600 here. So bang, bang, and basically this is £10, isn't it? £10. Well, in terms of conversion, what we are ultimately saying is that you have 5,300 units that are complete for both labor and overhead. So you might as well just add these together. You can look at it that way and divide by 5,300, or you could do them separately. It doesn't matter, but it does make sense to add them together. So we are saying that we have 5,300 units complete for both labor and overheads. And so therefore, the total cost here is 26,500 plus 10,600, which is equal to 100, 1 plus 6 is 7. So that's 37,100. So I have a total cost of 37,100 divided by 5,300 complete units, right? So 37,100 divided by 5,300 is equal to £7, right? So when I'm, if you like, that's the cost for labor, right? So, and that's kind of how we work this. So that's sort of the way to do this. What you're always trying to do is find what those find the equivalent units for WIP, and then you can then now deal with them individually. You can then deal with them individually. Right. Okay, great stuff. And that's how we do this. So yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, if you're valuing the complete units now, if you want to do that, you're basically saying, well, in terms of my complete units, which there's 5,000 of them, I'm literally having, well, 5,000 times £10 plus 5,000 units at £7, and that's the value of your completed units. Um, and with your work in progress, you have 600 at £10 and you have 300 at £7, right? Because that's how we value these, right? And that's kind of the process. They're not asking us for that, but that's the way we would do that. Okay, great stuff.